I've been asked questions as to what's the training program that we offer, what's the midterm goal and the long term. I always start with the foundation. My belief is like anything else, if the dog isn't paying attention to me, I can't teach the dog anything. A dog with the head down, smelling the ground, paying attention to other things with it, with dogs, shying away from traffic, shying away from loud noises. The dog will not hear what I'm saying. The dog will not learn anything. So I spend a lot of time in the foundation. I use treats to get the dog to focus on me. Every time I get eye contact, the dog gets a treat. I use a word, yes, yes, which is what I use, which is what most people use. And every time the dog hears yes, the dog knows a treat is coming. Pablo, ring the bell, the dog salivates, knowing food is coming. Now, this dog is a young dog, puppy, and also is lacking in exposure. So he's a little shy. So I have to get the food drive really high for this dog to pay attention to me. Nothing else must be more important than the dog getting this food. So I'll do a little demonstration with this puppy. It might make mistakes, but I'll show you. I'm just going raw. I'll just show you what the dog can do. Teach him no sense in wasting time picking up the food off the ground. The food comes from here. Here comes the first distraction. Yes. As soon as the dog looks up at me, I give him the treat. Yes. And I just patiently wait on him. I give him the option. He can waste time staring at the food down the bottom, or he can come up here for the treat. Yes. Good. Stay. On Saturday, we started back with obedience competition. We entered the first class just to qualify to go into the competitions. We did the novice class, a very, very basic test. Our next test out will be the beginner's test. Now, one of the issues that we had when we went to the trial, which I always say to everybody, the first trial is really just to find out what you need to work on. I made mistakes, which actually cost me winning the trial, but that's okay, it's all fun. But what we did experience was in the ring on the stage where all the dogs are left together like this, there were about 4 or 5 dogs that moved out of position and started moving around our dogs. Luckily, our stays were solid, foundation again. We really worked a lot of time on stays. So even though other dogs were sniffing around them and moving around them, our dogs did not move. Had they moved, we would have been disqualified. So it's very important that you prepare your dog for whatever it is that you're training your dog for. If it's obedience competition, early police work, or you want to just take your dog out to the park for walking or on the streets for walking, your dog must always pay attention to you and always be obedient to the command that you're giving. A mistake a lot of homeowners do or dog owners do, they think because there's a distraction, it allows the dog to disobey them. My thing is, we train dogs because we want to work them in distractions. We want to work them when we need them to sit and stay with people coming in, children coming into the yard. We want to be able to call the dog. That's when we need training. So we have to do training in distractions. Was very good. 3 male dogs and a male dog sniffing them is not something they would have tolerated without a command. There's no doubt if they were not told to stay, they would have probably attacked this puppy. All right, so this dog is a little bit more advanced than the puppy. Okay. Start again with just looking at me, and then I'm going to create more distractions on this dog, asking him to look at me with distraction. All right. I don't know if you could hear that. I had to tell him sit twice. Whenever you give a dog a command, the first time I give him a blight, he may not have understood what I said, or he might have been slightly distracted. I'll tell him the command a second time. If he doesn't respond after 2 attempts, then I have to physically put him in a position. In this case, I pull up on him. There's a handful of chow right here, which is creating distraction. And that's why he keeps pulling that side. Move now to the next dog, who is a little bit more advanced than that one. Some dogs learn faster than others. He is challenging, to say the least. And that's another thing we can talk about, is genetic potential. Not all dogs are genetically equal. Not all dogs are genetically blessed for what it is that you're looking for. My father was a trainer. And one of the things I remember him saying, 2 things I remember him saying. He says, when the owner's requirement meets that of the dog's genetic potential, is success. When the owner expects greater than the dog's genetic potential, creates disappointment or frustration. So at some point we have to evaluate, does this dog have the genetic potential to do what it is that you want the dog to do? Doesn't mean that the dog can't do something else. It just may not do as you are expecting it to do. Next dog. Please. Sit. Stay. Now usually, stay. Usually my son works this dog. So he may not respond to me as well as he does to my son. Which is the other thing my dad always said. He said, a dog is not a refrigerator. You don't fix it and it works for everybody. The person who wants the best results from their dog has to work with their dog. And so that's the program that I offer. I like to work along with the owners so that we figure out, what is the chemistry? What could the owner do a little differently to get the dog to respond to them? We look for the best way to get the dog and owner working together. And in a family, you may find that a dog may work well for one of the children, but not for the mom, or work well for the dad, but not well for the other child, or work well for the helper or the gardener, but not work for the owners. It just depends on the chemistry and who works best with the dog, who works most with the dog. So that's very important. A mistake I made in the beginning was I would come in and run training programs and I would work the dog for several weeks, sometimes months, and never got the owners involved with it. And as a result, the dog never does anything for the owners. So it's very important. Dog owners, you must work with your dog. just making sure it's not too hot because this is a black platform. Yes. On this side of me is a pile of chow, which is a distraction to him. Down. Hey. Still. Wrinkle. Stand. Sit. Good. Yes. Okay, you will see a while ago where he was distracted by the camera. The dog in the background barked and he looked away. He glanced away. That's okay. When he does glance away, just be patient. Wait on him to come back to you. So he learns all of that looking around, glancing around doesn't get him the treat. The only thing that gets him the treat is looking at me. Now, the next dog that I bring out is probably the best of the 4 dogs so far with focusing on me. I'm going to add a distraction to it by having my son walk around the dog with one of the other dogs to create a distraction. And I'll show you how I make the correction to insist that the dog focuses on me. Free. Down. Stand. Stand. Stay. Stay. Good boy. Back. Back up. Good. Good. Boy. Chip. Back up. Yes. Back, back, back. Free. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Up. 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 Good. Sit. Stay. Sit. Down. Yes. Chip. Sit. chip, down, chip, stand. This one is not so important because I mean, good boy, good boy, good boy. I'll see what I'm saying. Good work. Sit. Stay. What happened with this dog is I've taught him to use the back end on the flip turns. So he has learned to use the back end without moving the front end, which is necessary for all left turns and all left about turns, even for backups. It's important that they learn to use the hind legs. However, the trial I did this week Sunday, I realized that he's not using his hind legs to make the right turn. And so I'm going to introduce to him today how we want him to use the hind legs. Now he's going to keep stepping out of the box with the front leg. He's going to keep stepping out of the box with the front leg because it's not something he's used to. But that's okay. That's what teaching is all about. I'm going to be patient with him. I just need a few steps on the back leg, turning his back into the left. So he'll be pivoting clockwise on the rear.